G'day guys, Malakan from MKAU Gaming here, and today we are joined by, there's
Pickle.
5 of us, as you can see.
Shaven Wookie.
Striker 3K.
Stay safe.
Get into it.
And welcome to episode 7 of the MKAU show. Obviously, con season is very quickly approaching, so I thought it would be a good idea to discuss it. Obviously, we've got Comic Con coming up, we've got Supernova. Most of us, except for Striker, are going to PAX this year. I just want to get everyone's opinion
I have
on...
a daughter that dances. What can I say? She costs too much.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Kind of can't afford it once you're paying for someone to dance, really, I suppose. I've seen some of the prices are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, first and foremost, we're going to discuss what drew us to conventions initially. So I'm going to start with you, Stace, since you're down there.
I first got into going to conventions for a friend that used to cosplay. So I got introduced that way. And it was always something I was really into, but the stigma of dressing up like a character kind of turned me off it. But once I went to my first convention and saw how many people actually dress up as stuff that they love, kind of drew me to a convention. So that's my experience. Dale?
Pretty good. Oh, geez. I mean, I've been going to cons for a long time now, but I went before the cosplay was a thing for me.
Yeah.
And I actually went to cons for conventions to seeing all the pop culture stuff, all the cool collectibles I could buy, the comic books I wanted to get. And I mean, I went to a few different cons. I don't know if it actually was a Supernova, but I think my first con I went to was like a games con kind of thing. And it was all about Dungeons and Dragons, board games, stuff like that. I went with my dad.
Original stuff.
And and that was pretty dope. Like, that got me into it. And I guess my dad kind of liked it, but he never really got more into it, except for me. And then after going a few times, picked up, and then I was like, hey, I want to cosplay. But conventions was like the best for like your little previews, for like trailers. Like, just the atmosphere was great, you know, and just being able to buy stuff that I assumed I couldn't buy anywhere else, because you really couldn't till now, the internet being a thing, and it's like, I just buy it all offline. Yeah. But it's great. I mean, what about you? Like, you guys?
Was that essentially? Yeah, it was progression for me. You know, I've always loved the pop culture scene. You know, everything from anime to comic books to just sci-fi to everything. So pretty much just going to cons was generally just what it stood for. You know, the scene itself, what you could do, what you could see, the celebrities that you can see, just the panels that you can go to. That was generally, and it still is. But now it's more, for better say, it's the people as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Honestly,
until MKAU, I had no interest in going.
Yeah.
I never really knew much about it. Gaming to me was simply
a separate entity.
Yeah, it was. That was it. It wasn't until Lance dragged me along, actually. I think my first one would have been EB Expo, the original EB Expo.
Yep.
And, you know, that was through MKAU that I went to it, and ever since then it's sort of, I don't know. I went to them, and I guess I saw what people had always been, you know, enjoying about them. So, but yeah, no, that's what got me there was this gig.
Yeah. That was a good convention too.
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah. See, I was a bit of a late bloomer. Like, I didn't go to my first convention, I think, till like 2013, 2014. Oh, wow. See, I was always into that stuff, but I never even knew there was things
kind of
like
where to go to.
Yeah, like
local kind of thing.
That it was celebrated in that sort of sense. Like, we, I suppose, come from a generation where it wasn't really popular to be into nerdy, geeky sort of stuff like that.
Yep.
Well, I know when I was younger it wasn't.
Well, I think it was like 2006 for me. I think it was the 2005, 2006 was like my first time kind of thing. Yeah. Like, that's a throwback. Like,
that's definitely.
It's crazy, like early stages, and it was
you
only.
Grew up with it more.
Yeah, and I think for me, the only one that was local that we knew of, which was only Supernova. Like, and then you've got OzCon, you've got EB Expo, like you guys go to. And we finally got PAX here now. Like, there's slowly more and more popping up, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. See, you were lucky because you had a family that fostered it, whereas I had a family that were very straight edge. Like, there's sport, and that's about it.
Yeah,
so
same.
I was like the
rugby
dark
league
sheep.
Was like, if you weren't into sport in the Frolofts, it was just there's something wrong with you.
Like, even now, my parents look at gaming as not really a I don't know.
Entertainment,
More
is
like
it?
it's not even a hobby to them. It's just like something
just
you do
straight
for
up
fun,
entertainment, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
And yet, let's be real. I mean, gaming. Some of the richest people around
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
because of gaming.
They've invested,
yeah.
they've invested
Yeah.
money into it, or they
investing
are
money,
into
yeah.
it, you know.
Shaquille O'Neal.
And when we talked
about
esports
owns
last week,
owns
it
the
is
esports
a-
team.
it is a growing industry.
Hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Maddie?
Well, I grew up in a tiny little country town, and yeah, basically, as you were saying, it was if you weren't into sports, it was forget about it sort of thing.
Yep.
And it wasn't until I moved up here at my previous employer that one of my colleagues was bragging about how she was going to go to Supernova and how she was going to dress up and so on and so forth. I'm like, well, hang on, what's this? So me and my partner at the time, we decided, yeah, right, we're going to go check it out sort of thing, because both of us very heavily into gaming. She was very heavily into anime and that sort of stuff as well. I love the Marvel universe, so, you know, kind of fits hand in hand with the whole pop culture thing. And yeah, that's initially what drew me, and I think we only went to one convention together, and then I sort of just stopped going to them, to be completely honest. And it wasn't until I got my camera that I started going a little bit more frequently again, because I wanted to get photos of cosplayers and stuff. And then obviously working with MKAU, I've been going more and more to try and basically build that.
Yep.
So that's, yeah, it's just word of mouth is what got me going to it. And because it was something I was interested in, it's like, yep, cool,
Well,
let's go.
exactly, and it is crazy though when you actually go to those conventions to actually see, like, early on for me, like being like I said, like 2006, whatever it was, like to see how many people were actually going to the events. Like they were like packed out events. Like it was at the RNA showgrounds.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was just like people everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, this is the first time here. Like, how long have these things been going for? Because like so many people were drawn into them.
And
it's
that's
amazing.
Back, what,
like
in 2006.
yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
insane back then. Like
my
people
first
loved
ever
it.
convention, like it blew me away.
and like I can
The
understand like at the time,
community,
of course,
the
it's gonna
community.
be there. But like back then, when the feeling of like I didn't realize this was going to be a thing. Like this never really existed. It's you hear about it. Like America always had conventions.
Yeah.
It was always the way it was for America. But like for us here to have a convention was like what? And then to see how many people that are like your people, like you're into the same stuff I liked. I mean, I used to be bullied for this, but you're appreciating it. Like yes, my people. You know.
Yeah, and there's a lot of subcultures
But-
at conventions where people just kind of go, I love this, and has those groups where it's like if you like tabletops, you can go to the tabletop area. If you
Exactly.
like comics, you can go to the comic book area, figurines, and
Collectors, everything,
yeah,
Anime.
everything,
stuff.
yeah.
Artwork.
Yeah,
It's
cosplayers, and I've been fortunate enough to go to a convention overseas. I
Yes,
went
you talked
to
about that.
Stanley Comic Con back in 2016. In comparison to Australian cons at that time, it just blew me away.
Hella different.
Hella different. More people. The cosplays there are just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Particularly because it was in LA, and you get a lot of people probably just around that area who will just obviously work in the industry, so they have a lot of time to get into it. But yeah, it's just the celebrities there are just what we kind of pay huge amounts to see over here. Was it like John Travolta? And so compared to over there, it's just kind of like all they're doing is just like driving down the road and doing a convention for the weekend, and the prices comparison is like nothing compared to what we're paying
Chalk
here.
and cheese.
Yeah, exactly. And not just that, it's just what they have at those conventions compared to what we have, like compared to what they're selling at their stalls, the guests, like even the side guests in like an alleyway. I saw, one of the guys from Run DMC, he was selling off his comic book. The guys from, Comic Book Men, I got to meet them and have a photo. And they were just in like a side, just a booth, just along
Just
the
kind
side.
of like spread out.
Yeah, kind of spread out. They had their area where all the celebs had their signing areas, but then just the side booths that you normally go to at a convention, they were all littered around there. They had just Stanley just rocks up, goes to a booth where they were doing a signing of
Bless his soul.
and of William Shatner's new comic. Or book, and just Stanley just rocks up at that booth and just does some signings as well. Just checks it all out. It was comparison, yeah, it's huge, and what we pay huge amounts for, they're just
What we're actually getting, yeah, it is a bit
Yeah.
like, well, that's exactly it. Like, I noticed that our ticket pricing for this month of like Supernova had kind of like increased, and then they got John Travolta coming along, but then they're like, his like photograph is like $240,
and he's
like,
only coming for one day.
yeah, and it's like one day on a Friday, and but like he's just doing part promotion for his other thing he's got going on, but it's just like, you see other events, like you got your comparison to dollar for America, and it's like so much more cheaper.
Yeah.
Because like we had Stanley come around the first time round, that was Sydney, and I paid a photo, it was like $100 for a photo.
Yeah.
He came back the second time, it was what, 150 or something like that. Like, where do they decide to increase the, like, why are they increasing prices? Like, it never changed.
Over
like,
there, like,
demand.
I paid like, what, 20 US to have a photo and a signature of all the guys from Comic Book Man.
Yeah.
So, in that comparison...
And they're still like,
Yeah,
at
they're
Stan Lee
still-
convention,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
at a Stan Lee
Stan Lee
convention, they're
convention.
like at a
Yeah,
nice
they
tier.
kept-
They're not like low grade for a Stan Lee convention. They're like high,
Yeah,
fairly decent
exactly.
tier.
And they, at that convention, they had like Stanley, of course. They had like Kevin Smith, and you know, got one of the guys from Run DMC, even one of the guys who played the original Pokemon theme song.
Yep.
Which leads from that. Also, American conventions, they have an awesome nightlife for their conventions.
Yeah.
So with the pass that you had, you were able to go to a after party, which was just for the people that went to the convention. So you couldn't buy a ticket, you would just have that pass would give you free entry into it. It was a part of your ticket. And it was an after party. They had like huge, setup, dance floor, all that kind of stuff. They had bands playing. They had the guy from, as I said, who sung the original Pokemon theme song, perform the song there.
That's
And
pretty dope.
8-Bit Heroes too, eh?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, they're
insane.
Yeah. And stuff like that. So
I remember
it's-
seeing your photos of that, your videos.
Yeah,
And that's what I mean. Exactly. You look
Snapchat.
at what you get for what you pay, and then you compare to us, and it's just so
yeah,
Well,
like
yeah.
we're paying, but like, what are we getting? Like,
Well, like Kurt brought up before, it's demand. So as it's become more socially acceptable to like these things,
but that's what I mean. What I felt like
they
was
can now justify increasing prices.
compared to where we are now with the price what we pay for what we get, compared to back when I went like to that. Like, let's go back because I remember when I was 2007. I remember I cosplayed then. I paid for my entry to the thing. It was what the weekend, like it was like $20 a day, $25 for a day. You got a goodie bag like they give out now, which you get like a pamphlet. What you get now is like a pamphlet or something, like a little, maybe some vouchers for like Domino's or something, and like your little booklet with a map.
Yeah.
Back when I went, like 2007, let's go back to then again. You got your goodie bag. You got a newspaper, which like you didn't need a newspaper, but they chucked in a newspaper for some stupid reason for the weekend.
Yeah.
You got your map. You got a booklet. You got a comic book, like 2 to 3 comic books. You got a lanyard. You got pens. You got secondhand figurines that they didn't need. You got magnets. You got all kinds of stuff in your bag.
Yeah.
It's like your money you're paying for your ticket was actually
The
you're getting
bag,
back to
yeah.
a point before you even went in.
But in saying that,
But-
you haven't been to PAX before, hey?
No, but that's
PAX,
exactly.
PAX
Yeah.
is the biggest.
But that's
I
what
think,
is
convention
kind of
in
annoying
Australia.
now, where we're
and you
at
get heaps
now.
of free stuff.
With Supernova, where you pay near on $40 for one day, and you're just getting a plastic bag with a map, like that you can just walk in and get at the desk. It starts for a map.
Well,
Like,
well, one of the things
It's
that
nothing.
That was salty.
that that I like compared
oh
to
my
that-
free,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
free
That was
stuff,
salt.
Yeah.
oh my free stuff.
But yeah, that compared to like other cons where I do miss having the lanyards for like Supernova and Comic Con, great, but PAX has the lanyards and I like having
Like, that's
the
cool
lanyard
how they do
instead
it.
of the wristbands because those wristbands just seem-
Well, I mean, I don't want to say anything. I mean, I'm not particularly stabbing, or not stabbing. We're
You
not
are going to say something.
not
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
not
yeah.
like
Say
giving
something,
out
yeah.
who it is, but I've got a friend who has a band from like 5 years ago who still wears it every time he goes to a con, and it lets him in. Yes. Like, he's got it, and he keeps holding on to him, and he just like loosely has it on, and he'll just like put it back on every time. He just keeps it aside.
Yeah.
They don't check it,
Wow.
yeah.
so
So Supernova,
ruined
get
it for
on
that
to us.
person.
that's what I don't want to ruin
Yeah.
it. But
We know
I
we're
can't
close
do-
friends with Supernova
Yeah.
at MKAU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
yeah,
like-
I don't condone it, Lionel. Sorry.
We don't, yeah. But I've done a little bit of research, and so PAX is one of the biggest global conventions, one of them, and Australia is the only international country that has PAX, and it's a $24 billion industry. PAX, just PAX.
Well, the
So,
advertising I've seen just seems well advertised
it's all
compared to
supply
like
and demand.
what everyone else does. Like PAX knows what they're doing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's been in America and it's coming.
Yeah.
It's come near. Like,
PAX East,
how long has it
PAX
been here?
West.
Like it's been
2014?
because it's now
Almost.
because I was reading up that it's
15.
now what EB Expo used to be.
2013.
EB
It's
Expo
now-
started in 2012.
because
Yeah,
it now
2012
became
at Gold Coast.
PAX.
So-
I guess.
Yeah, that
PAX,
was my
PAX
first one.
originally
Sorry, yeah.
Penny Arcade Expo.
yeah, Penny
Yeah,
Arcade.
yeah, Arcade
Yeah.
Expo, yeah.
And then
So
now
I'm pretty sure they came to Australia 2013.
some guy, because someone was telling me that as part of EB, like EB
Yeah.
Expo pretty much related
Well,
as that.
EB
Kind of,
was part of
like
PAX now.
Yeah.
so they've
yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of cut that off.
Amalgamated.
Yeah.
together.
Which
Yeah,
I think
well-
is kind of cool, which makes it even bigger, I guess. to a
Yeah,
point,
but see,
maybe less. I don't know.
When you got in
We,
Australia,
we do lose an extra convention, I guess.
Yeah, but Australia is only, we're a country that is as sparse as what we are. We've only got like 26, 27 million people in
Yeah.
the population.
Yeah.
You know, you got states in America with that many people.
Yeah.
You know, so to have EB Expo and PAX, in the same half of the year even,
Does make sense,
it's
business wise.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so that's why I
you've,
just
you've got all
merge
the,
it.
all the companies coming over. They're going to pick one or the other to go to,
So it's just
and that's what happened.
yeah.
And that's why a couple of years back I had a conversation with Lance about oversaturation of conventions.
Yes.
Like there was a lot of smaller conventions which would just kind of spread yourself out. For like cosplay, it would be great because you can be like, oh, I can wear one here and one there, but at the same time it's a double-edged sword. It's like, oh, I'm going to make another cosplay for another convention. And then it was the oversaturation, like you said. It's just
Of the
having
same stuff.
Yeah, the same stuff again and again.
Yeah.
And by having, for example, going back to PAX, one that's kind of the big event of the year that everyone's just going to go to, and Supernova's great, and Oz Comic Con's great as well. And it's I think there's a healthy medium now of amount of cons. If there was more, then it'd ruin it, in a sense. And
Well, I guess yeah. Cause
Yeah,
if
it's-
you go by like, because you have like each kind of seasonal period, like you've got one that's like set in one location, and then another one, another
yeah, it
location.
spreads it
like
out a
it's-
bit more
And then
because
you kind of, if you actually time them all together, you could actually have a nice con season.
Because they are quite
every
expensive.
like
Some
couple
people
months.
were in the boat where they had to go, am I going to go to EB Expo
Yeah.
or am I going to save my money and go to PAX?
Yeah.
Because EB Expo, was on the Gold Coast?
Well,
Well, they
once-
scrapped that.
once-
Yeah.
Scrapped that.
Twice.
Yeah.
And then
Twice.
PAX is
Oh,
down
that's
in
right,
okay,
it
Melbourne.
came back
But
in.
the old one was
Yeah.
even in
Died.
Sydney. So if
Yeah.
you have to travel, you got to decide, am I going to go to Sydney or am I going to go to
Okay,
Melbourne?
yeah.
So I kind of like that they're both together now.
Yeah,
They're making it more of, well, if you want to actually go, you're going to travel kind of thing, which you got to
Yeah.
make that
yeah,
choice.
yeah, and it's
Which
got to be
makes
worth
sense.
it as well if you're going to travel.
But that makes sense because if you were to have, say, like a PAX, like if PAX was to do, I guess, multiple in the year, then there's no real big bang for the event because then you're like, oh, I could go to the one at Sydney or I go to the one at Melbourne or I go to the one that's at Brisbane. Which one do you want to choose? Like it's like they're all kind of, but then they've got to spend out their money, I guess, kind of feed across the whole events.
You would find if PAX was doing that, like the cons, like your Supernova and that sort of stuff, it wouldn't be as big as what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
PAX
why
is
they got the
very
one big
different.
event. And I think that's
PAX
maybe
is very
thinking about it.
different
That's
to
why I think Oz Comic Con and
most cons.
Supernova mostly struggles. It's because they hold so many events in different states in a year.
Yeah.
If Supernova had one big event, it would most probably be amazing.
Yeah.
Because it'd be like PAX, and then PAX would be like, oh, we've got a competitor now.
Yeah. But was it saying that it's the thing that would draw me to a convention even more if there was a new one was if I got more bang for my buck
Yeah.
in that sense. So going back to the United States ones where like I forked out an extra cash to go get the VIP ticket.
Yep.
So the VIP ticket gave me access just like anyone else, but it also gave me like a little VIP area. So if you're paying that much, you might as well get like an area to yourself. So it had charging bays, you can rest there. They had its own private bar, own buffet as well. You can just go there and get food. And also the celebrities came to the VIP area and do regular signings throughout the day.
That's pretty dope.
So they came to the VIP area. So you had like on the Sunday, Stan Lee came, on like the Saturday, I forgot who else came. But yeah, a bunch of people. So that's where you get more bang for your buck. Even though like thinking like with the aspect of even if you're just going like you said before what you'd get in a normal bag, I was still getting that aspect as well at the convention where you're getting a lot of bang for your buck.
Yeah.
And I remember the conventions back in the day when you were doing that, getting that as well. Like you would open up your bag and get all nice little goodies in there. Except now it's more like you get your bag and kind of go,
In the
you
bin.
know, yeah, the bit. It's you can go ruffling through it, and it's just mainly lots of advertisement and just stuff that's in the convention that you're going to see anyway. And going towards that as well, some of the booths I'm kind of a little bit getting stale about. One thing I would like to see is a little bit more variety in the booths that they have.
But just for advertisement or like what they're selling or...
No, yeah, what they're selling,
'Cause
or
I mean,
even show stuff.
I mean, for selling
Well, that
is
goes on to the
bad.
next topic,
Selling
right?
is
It
not
does,
bad.
yeah. That goes on to the next topic. What we'd like to see more. So
At a convention.
I do feel like conventions have changed a lot in the short amount of time that I've been going to them.
Yep.
So first convention I ever went to was back when the newest, which is kind of old now, but the newest Duke Nukem was in the process of being released.
Yep, forever. Yep.
Yeah. And like I remember walking into the convention hall and seeing they had a big stand in the convention hall that was completely blocked out, so you couldn't see it unless you physically went into it.
Yeah.
You had to line up for who knows how long to play 5-10 minutes
Yep.
of Duke Nukem.
Yep.
So I guess it's a little bit harder in Australia, but I would like to see at PAX, or not even PAX, like at Supernova, at Comic Con,
Previews.
I'd like to see more previews. I'd like to see more...
Exclusivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
Actually
like to
draw you
see
in.
Yeah.
more of the stuff that they get at like San Diego Comic Con, or they get at E3, for example. I'd like to see more of that sort of stuff in Australia. Now, I've never been to PAX, so I have no idea what to expect in that respect.
You do have a lot of that exclusivity.
Good.
at
See,
PAX
PAX
is.
is mainly the electronic side, mainly, right?
Yeah,
Of,
games,
of pop culture. So it
Yeah.
does have a lot of that sort of stuff. So it would be
Yes.
nice to see it in like Comic Con and I suppose Supernova in Australia.
Well, it's going back to PAX as well compared to other conventions. They have a lot of.
It's
things
almost
that
like
you
two
run-
different genres that we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
PAX is
But-
very gaming oriented.
Yeah, very gaming
It is, yeah.
orientated. But there's also a kind of like a, what do you say, like a subculture, a lot of sub events that you can go to at PAX. Like they've got badge collecting, and then you have people for that. You have a lot of people running around and buying all these pins. And I've gotten
I don't know anyone like that.
No.
Behind the camera.
Give me all the collecting pins.
Yeah. So, it was one of the things, like last year, running around trying to get all these collecting pins. And that was one of the things that made you want to go to the convention, because you had to go inside, collect these collectibles, and it was a lot of exclusive things in there. There was giveaways, and that's, happening there. Well, when you go, other conventions, it's kind of like, yeah, they have a few things like that, but there's not as much exclusivity as you'd like. So you can go in and see your celebrities and all that kind of stuff. That's great. That's one form of exclusivity, but you need something as well that's in there that kind of goes, I wish I was at that con, that makes you want to go to the next one.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Supernova because I get to talk to the celebrities.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Thanks,
Well,
Supernova.
yeah, you've got perks in that respect.
Yeah. What do I want to see more from conventions? The starting normal mainstream conventions. I like to take PAX out of this loop for this part of the segment. But I want to see more like the gaming side going into normal conventions. Supernova started to do it. They had an esports arena
esports arena.
recently.
Yeah.
I think at the last one.
Yeah.
Or maybe
and-
the one before it, and then they took it away. No. See,
No,
I
no,
get
that's-
Oz Comic Con
they've
and Supernova.
They have gaming
mixed up.
areas. I know they have sections, but not real esports
Yeah.
setups.
Yeah.
For
They're starting to add esports
which
arena,
is
like a
great
mini
because it
esport arena
adds more
in.
variety.
So I know
Yeah.
you got computer set up, you can play and stuff and play some games and
I'd like to
verse
see more
people.
tournaments, perhaps.
Actual tournaments playing would be pretty
like
dope.
PAX have.
Well, I'd like to see a number of things. Is like a different variety of the booths that you walk around, because you see a lot of the same stuff. I want to see some stuff like that you don't see at most conventions.
That's the thing
before.
that gets me with
like
markets.
some,
I was
yeah,
going to say is like, it feels like you're going to a Sunday market. People are selling the exact same stuff
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah,
Like,
you've
I'm
kind
coming
of
to a
got double ups of
conventions,
some booths,
like-
and it just seems a little bit.
It's a flea market, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it legit is.
Well, yeah, I remember a few years ago there was at the convention. There was that 360 camera they had.
Yeah,
That was
they were doing that for a
awesome.
while.
Yeah,
Look at that Sydney
it'd be-
Supernova.
Yeah, and it would be
That's,
great
I
if they
guess-
brought stuff like that back, like something that wants you to go
Well, this
in
is like
and jump
exclusivity
in.
kind of things, like things you can go
Yeah.
experience. Like you said, like that'd be kind of cool to have something like that again.
Yeah,
It'd be
yeah,
pretty
and
dope
like
in area set up.
they've got like the Terminator car at conventions now, but more like what I saw in LA was like the car out of Supernatural. You can get a photo with it and all that kind of sweat and wear like Dean's jacket. Supernatural, love it. But stuff like that, like they they had a Dexter booth, which they had like a whole like clean room set up
Yeah.
like Dexter, and they had the table lined out and all that kind of stuff. Like a lot more themes to it, a lot more variety.
Basically what we have is like the
Interactive.
501st
Interactive,
like
yeah.
line of
Yeah.
501st, which you kind of have that scene, but it's like donate, which is cool, 501st,
Yeah.
donating to them, but then it's just like, but then there's like that
Yeah.
set, but it'd be cool if they actually built proper like little sections to like involve, like say, involve people to
Yeah,
come by.
yeah, coming by. And another thing is, I think they're really missing out on having a nightlife for
Yes,
people
an
at conventions.
after-hours event.
Like an after-hour event. Like,
Like,
I
not
remember...
just end, like not just cut it off, like roll on.
Yeah,
continue.
yeah. There was one, I can't remember which convention, but they actually had a night like an event. It was back at the
Was that
RNA.
when you,
Was that...
me,
Oh, no,
and Lance
I know
went
of
and
that.
watched... What
Was it the
It was like an
Burlesque?
external thing,
We
but it was
saw,
part of if you had
Yeah,
a Supernova
yeah.
ticket, like you could
Regurgitator.
come to this as well, kind of thing.
Oh, EB, yeah.
EB had it,
EB
yeah.
had it. EB had
Yeah,
a great
they had
nightlife event.
Science
Yeah.
and then Regurgitator played a concert.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
one
remember
of
EB did that. I
That
remember
was a
seeing
good one. There was another one in Australia. Well, I can't remember which convention,
But it wasn't
they
exclusive.
actually had an adult like nightlife after
I
hours
think
kind
it
of
was
thing,
one
which
of
was
the,
a
I feel it was one of the
burlesque
Supernovas, but it wasn't
show.
partnered with it, but they kind of did their own thing. I think it might have been
It might have been, yeah.
where they're like, because that's what I remember. Like I said, it was kind of like I remember hearing something about it that it wasn't exclusively licensed by them, but they were bouncing off the Supernova event, being like, well, if you went to this, show us your ticket, and you kind of got this thing as well, which was a completely separate thing, but they just wanted to piggyback off that PR kind of, I guess.
Well, yeah, there was this event. It was a burlesque show, after hours burlesque show after the convention. So it was at the convention, same place, and then
pretty
after
dope,
a certain time, they kind of just go, no. Then
I mean,
after a certain
Yeah,
age,
we'll do some 18 plus.
the non,
events.
Yeah,
the non,
18 plus events.
the non-normal event does that. There's that exclusive
R18
Sexpo event that holds night events after.
Yeah.
But like they know what they're doing. Like I mean,
Yeah.
that technically that's a convention. Like so,
Yeah.
we've got all kinds of conventions,
Well,
not just.
that was the thing as well. When the going back to the Stan Lee one, it was that event was like for 21 plus.
Yeah.
It's like
was-
Dragon Con.
Yeah, Dragon Con. They've
Where you're
got
allowed
like
to drink alcohol
Yeah.
and
But that's exactly
well,
like
They
I
have,
think that
like,
was on last weekend too.
cosplayers in the swimming
most
pools
conventions don't really do
of
much.
the
I mean,
hotels.
you go over the idea of conventions of what we have in Australia. If we're gonna go nitpicking
Yeah.
of conventions, not just pop culture. I mean, we have car conventions, but like even then, like you have a few shows. That's it. The only one I know that has it in Australia, well, I guess besides PAX that has a nightlife, from what I've heard. Like, what else do we have that? EB had that nightlife kind of thing in Australia.
They did
Yeah,
one.
they
I
did
know
one.
one of the Sydney ones I attended. They had
And then the only ones-
a show afterwards. Yeah.
Like, and the only other one I know of was Sexpo. Like, you bought your ticket, and you could go to the after party as well, or you could go to the after party separately. But it was more low key known about through the convention.
Yeah,
So-
attending the convention.
We
Let's get away
That's
from that
all
one.
we got sniggering going on. In the
Yeah,
I
background.
mean,
it's,
it's-
taking a turn.
But it's still conventions. Like,
Okay,
where are
we're-
you looking at?
Okay,
People?
we're talking nerdy conventions.
Nerdy
conventions,
yeah,
well, I
that's-
mean, they're starting to tie in
Whoopsies.
cosplay with those events though too now.
Yeah.
They're really starting to piggyback on the pop culture, which is getting a bit risque
Yeah,
with that as
yeah,
well.
I'll
Like,
agree with that.
Yeah.
they are feeding to a certain class, which some people take cosplaying a bit more seriously than others at those kind of
I don't
events.
know that I'd class that as serious cosplay, but yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I don't know.
No, there are
That's-
some people I know of that were specifically wanting to go to that event because they were like, because of the cosplay comp they had, which they took it the wrong way.
You can win money.
You know,
from
and it's not just about cosplay; it's about being risque about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people were going, "Oh, I want to go to this."
ruining
because
our
I wanna
childhood
cosplay."
characters. All right, let's move on from
yeah,
that.
I think, yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
we
let's
should
move on. Yeah.
What about yourself? What do you think we should see more of?
Look,
at
I'm
conventions?
gonna. I mean, I agree with what's been said already. There's one thing I kind of, from my perspective, I'd like to see more of, but I know it's hard from like a business perspective. And
Yeah,
that's
all these
more
more the
family.
business behind it.
something for family to enjoy. Like as a father of three,
Yeah.
mind you, there's really
There
only
is
one of
much
them that
enjoy.
there's only one of them that would really want to go.
Shout out to Atlee.
Yeah, he's
Hey.
Shout out.
FaceTiming here in the background. But yeah, look, that's probably apart from everything else that has been said. It's that.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I look. I don't have a solution to it. I mean, I know that there was. I think it was EB at one point. They were doing.
I mean,
They did a family day. They used to do Sundays. Used to be the family day because it was only a short day.
Yeah.
But you know, but then the family day, all that was, I think, was cheaper tickets. It wasn't actually anything orientated towards families. It was that, like I said, it's probably a problem without a solution.
Yeah,
but
we're all saying these things, and it all costs money for the people that run these events at the end of the day.
But I mean, for me, I haven't been to one for a number of years now because, I mean, look, it's like logistics, especially for me. But that's probably.
Well, this is they don't really have much for the family. Like it's you go, but then it's just like look at the markets, like look at all these stalls. Spend your money, because that's what it is. It's like bring the adults in, get the kids to go running wild, and we're all big kids at the same time, so we want to spend money. But going back to that, like stuff with events, I mean, you got wrestling, but that's only marketed to a certain market of people that like that entertainment. But there was one Gold Coast event. I don't know if it was the first Supernova Gold Coast or the second one, but they had motorbikes out the side, and they were doing stunt tricks and stuff, and it was part of the event. Like you go to the convention, you go to that side, and they had dirt bikes racing around doing stunt tricks. Like, where's that kind of stuff? Like, even if it is kind of cheesy, chuck in some fair rides for the kids. Like actually have outdoor stuff. Like have a
PAX do that though.
Bloody like
they spread out the like outdoors and
what was it called? Ninja Warrior tracks or something like stuff for the kids or anything like that. Like actually have more stuff, not just because they're trying to close it in now with Supernova wanting to cage everything off. What it felt like it was starting to do, like expand out, cage it, and actually have those grassed areas or areas around the event.
Have something
and have stuff in there, like not just like if you're gonna like. From what I heard was they were blocking off the foyer for like Brisbane as well. Like then actually have stands because I think there was at one point stands in the foyers for stuff as well.
Yeah, there was.
Like bring that back. Like if you want people not to sit around, like actually put stuff in that way, but decorate it. Put a lot of crap up everywhere. Like have enjoyment outside and inside.
Yeah,
like
spread it out a bit more. If you're gonna, exactly. If you're gonna cage off an area, at least put something in there because you're not utilizing the extra space that you're paying for.
Yeah.
So, some of the things that instead of having them inside, move them outside and have more room for stuff that you can just have inside.
Exactly.
And put more of the exclusivity in there. And it spreads out the crowd and it also expands the amount of people that you can have there because...
Pop up a few arcade machines.
yeah, exactly.
Have a few games or something.
More things. You can bring in more, more variety into it by moving stuff that you normally would have inside outside. And then, like you said, some of the stalls.
I mean, instead of mini arcade, just win claw machines.
Look, why don't they just put MKAU in charge of it all? Problem solved.
Give us your money and we'll allocate.
We'll PG, I promise.
Just give us your money. We can't guarantee we'll do something about it.
After 8, though.
Do we want to talk about guests at all? Since you brought up
John Travolta.
Anyone?
Well, we had Chris Hemsworth at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, he
was
wasn't
a local to
Australian,
us,
but
really.
But like, he was
go down the Byron Bay.
Big pricey ticket for him. Like, you're a local. Like, come on. Well, not directly.
I want to see Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves would be dope.
I want to see Keanu Reeves.
But no,
breathtaking.
Who would we want to see? Like,
no, you're beautiful.
Well, people we want to see is I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because in the sense that when we say get this person and then we get the amount's going to be like huge amount to go see him. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword there.
We've already got the price mark now for like John Travolta. I mean, imagine if he was going to be the whole weekend, his photo is going to be $240.
Yeah.
So then you can only go from there now that they're starting to benchmark. I mean, you had Chris Hemsworth who was $200 for a photo.
Yeah.
Was he? And then you've got John Travolta who's now $240. You can, but like, who's more? I know John Travolta's been around a lot longer. He's OG like actor, but like. Who's more AAA at the moment? Like,
well, I mean, at the moment, it's clearly Hemsworth.
Yeah, and it was weird that he was, I guess, that little bit cheaper. But
Robert Downey, get him in there.
But so we've had Downey. Like, how much would you expect for a ticket for him? Like,
I'd be scared to ask.
350. Like, but would they go that far though? Like, that's what I'm curious about. Or would they lower the price but then up your entry ticket?
Well, I think that would probably be.
But if they up the entry ticket, then.
People
that don't want to see them or don't care.
They'll most likely make a cut either way, most probably, because the entry ticket's gone up, so they're still making money, and their photo and autograph ticket comes down.
But on the same token, if you're bumping the ticket up, less people are going to be inclined to go, because people are already complaining about the price.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, it's interesting to see because...
I'm going to be mean and say cosplayers complain about a lot of things.
Oh, cosplay, and that's where it comes from. They're a lot of
being
cosplayers
half
are tight
in,
asses.
half out.
But they're
But even speaking from a photographer's standpoint, I know a lot of photographers are saying, well, why should I have to go and pay to stand outside and take
And that's
photos
why I think
of
that maybe
people.
they're pushing people out.
Yeah,
They're trying to keep pushing them away.
that's
spending-
generally why they're putting those fences
which is
around, because,
understandable.
yeah, if you're not paying to go there, then you shouldn't really be
Pay a
there.
ticket for a
Yeah,
day, which is
yeah.
$20. If you're not going to go inside, then you should be going. You know, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
pay that $20.
So
walk around,
I
take
often
photos.
have fights with cosplayers because I'm a big believer. If you're going to go to the convention, you pay for a ticket to go in.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of them
If
like
you're
to
gonna spend
go
the
to the
weekend
convention
there.
and just hang outside the whole time.
Exactly. Just go. Just LobbyCon the whole
Go
time.
support the convention that you're
Pay
actually
one
dressing
day.
up for.
Yeah.
Go in at least one
And
day.
then-
Pay for that ticket. Then do whatever the first
There's
weekend.
too many that expect a free ride just
But not
because
just-
why? Because they cosplay. Big
Yeah.
deal, you know. Like it's,
Everyone dresses up at some point. Like
Yeah, well, that's right, and you got the photographers, like you say. Yeah,
everyone's there for free time.
You know, like there's been arguments in the past where I've seen it firsthand at a convention where a photographer, in particular, thought, "Oh, I should be allowed in here for nothing. Why do I have to pay?" You
Yeah.
know, like and there's other.
Why should I apply for a media pass?
Yeah, exactly.
We
Just
work
apply for a
very
media
hard
pass.
for our
Yeah,
media
like,
passes.
just apply for a media pass if
Yeah.
you want to be here for media. Like
We've had people.
Cover the con.
We've been in the unfortunate position where we've had people stooge your fuss as well.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just it's
Which
one of
is
those things.
shitty.
Like we get in there, but there's been times where, hell, I've even paid to go in there myself, and I don't. You know, I could go and say, oh,
well, I've done that.
but
Yeah.
I could go and say, well, I work for MKAU, or you know, I want to go in there and I want to cover the event, and then
Yep.
not cover it. I just want to go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've
Which
seen
some
that.
people do, yeah,
I've
I've
seen
heard
that
that.
firsthand. I
Stories
know
about
back
that, yeah.
when we first started going to conventions, it was like every YouTuber and his dog was there.
But
you know,
everyone's for everyone else that actually
As
is
a
wanting
content
there to
creator.
be
As
a
a
content
content
creator, an
creator.
actual content creator. Like
Yeah.
you get there for media.
and they started then, you know, getting a lot more strict on those tickets
And
and,
it ruins
whatnot. And and people started whinging. Well, why should I pay? Why should I pay? These conventions aren't free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
These-
it, exactly.
These people have, you know, they got to pay for
Yeah.
staff. They got to travel around the world. They got to do this and that. It's not free. So
Yeah. Well, that's
But
the thing. It's for me. It's I can say, oh, I'd love to see this. I'd love to see that. Doesn't stop me the fact that I'll still go. I'll
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
throw in my money.
yeah,
Pay entry at the door. Go in and throw money on the inside as well.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's well wishes, kind of in the sense of, it would be great to do this, but at the moment, I'll still throw the money in.
Yeah. If
That's-
you like something,
yeah, if
support
you like
the
something,
content
support it.
by, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
I mean, there are a lot of people that just chuck
pretty
money at
much
the
it.
events, but that's what they're kind of praying against. Is a lot of people that are just willing to chuck money away at everything,
yeah.
which is just a big
We're in a
sponge.
society where everyone wants a free ride.
But yeah,
is-
exactly.
that
In
is-
a way.
Yeah.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
true.
Or a generation.
And cosplayers, a lot of the cosplayers are the worst.
You know.
So for
I'm
that,
an
definitely-
influencer. Give me stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Spot
so
on.
we have been quite critical, but what I can say about Supernova and Comic Con, I'm not going to talk about PAX in this sense, is that they are very good when it comes to variety. Like I've been there for anime, like voice actors. I've got like the original voice of Goku is signed
Yeah,
heaps of
yeah.
my stuff at home, like the TV, you know, game voice actors like Troy Baker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Troy Baker,
Troy
he's been
Baker, yeah.
there so many times.
Yeah.
So I'm actually a big supporter of
And
who
I've
they
loved
get.
the
Like,
guests.
They do
the
pull a lot of
personalities
low-key
they do.
people.
They don't have to always be
Cat
A-listers.
Noir.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they've had to have, like,
Cat
I mean,
Noir.
there was one time, I mean, they did have, before he boomed off, but like early stages when he was doing Gears of War, like John DiMaggio.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was there, and he was just like a $10 autograph. I mean, you got one thing signed, but it was $10. Like,
And Nolan,
so low
he's
key,
been there
yeah.
heaps of times.
And it's like a lot of people are just so. Some of them are very low key that some people are just. Some of the celebrities are happy to just take a photo with you, like they don't
Yeah.
even care.
Yeah, and I do have to say, if it wasn't for Supernova, I wouldn't have got to see Stan Lee before he passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, though, thanks to the conventions, it's brought all of us together.
Yeah,
Well, I'm at
that's
Dale for
So-
cosplay at conventions. That's how our
Yeah.
friendship bloomed. So it does.
That's right. I had that awesome after party after
Yeah.
Supernova. Invited Dale to stay for the weekend, and then had that huge party. And
The
then
birth-
we
my
were
birth-
there.
was it-
Yeah,
was it
birthday,
the
Oh, yeah,
birthday
this
one?
was
Was it
birthday
the
weekend,
small
yeah, birthday
apartment, and we
weekend.
had
the apartment.
Yeah.
way
no,
too many people
we
were
had too
allowed in
many.
there.
Yeah, and we
So-
kind of got a few noise complaints.
It does. It brings people in your
Yeah.
interests together.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
just
a good community.
yeah. I think
for the most part.
For the most part. Like every other community, there are toxic people, and that's kind of why I'm out of cosplay. Like I'm
Yeah.
kind of moved on from that. But yeah.
Yeah, it's not just what's in there. It's the people you meet, the things that
The atmosphere.
do,
The
the experience. And
Yeah, it is.
I
Maybe
don't
the
think
experience.
it's a matter of what guests they have, and I think it's the people that you share common interest with.
Yeah.
That you create bonds with. For example, what we have here.
That's like me. Like, I'm
Well,
not too
that's a
fond
good
of the
point. Like, I wouldn't have even joined MKAU if it wasn't for conventions. Because I was cosplay and Lance took my photo, and we became friends that way.
Oh, is that how it happened?
Yeah.
Yes! You're stuck
We're
with
chatting
me.
days forever.
It's his
Yeah.
fault.
Gee, thanks, Lance.
Technically, it's also sort of how I came here. Like, I went to it wasn't
Meet.
a convention, but I
Yeah.
just went to a meet, took some photos of this one, and then
Yeah.
stalked her on Xbox.
It's like, really?
Really?
Without conventions,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have reviewers, right?
Photos of being at photo shoots. I got some photos somewhere back in the day at photo shoots where you were taking photos of other people and I've taken a photo of you taking a photo of them.
But I met Lance, I think, all the way down in Sydney. It was EB Expo. He took a photo of one of my, I had, Star Fox cosplay. Fox
Oh,
McCloud.
I remember that one. That was awesome.
Yeah, and that's how I met Lance. So,
Yeah.
without conventions, I wouldn't be here. Making a bomb-ass podcast.
Exactly.
So that's obviously what we want to see more of at conventions. What
Us?
are we sick of? Yeah, well, us
What are we sick
obviously.
of seeing?
What are we kind of sick of seeing? So for me personally, and this kind of goes back to what some of you guys have already said, I'm sick of seeing the same stalls
Yep.
repeated an alley away from each
Different
other, selling the
merchandise, same
exact
stuff.
same stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of I understand, yes, people have to make money and everything, but on the same token, I'm sick of it being more of a go there to buy stuff that you can buy anywhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something now that I personally I'm tired of seeing it.
Not there
Like,
to
It is
specifically
a
spend
double-edged
money.
sword, though, because they use people, hiring that space for the stall to
Yeah.
pump money into the convention.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, there are a lot of people.
Like,
that are willing to
I
discourage
too
spending.
am sick of seeing the same stuff, but then I understand that all these people are
But that's
buying
exactly it.
spaces.
Like,
they're buying
yeah.
spaces,
Hiring-
Buying
and,
spaces. So that's
Yeah.
and
their
they
money
need
that
to make
dictates.
money. So I understand.
But it
Pay for
works.
guests
they're
It
doing
works some way because they're there. Like people
Yeah.
are going and they're
Yeah.
spending money. It's like, well, we'll go
But
again next year.
I do feel that.
People will come by and they'll spend more money, and it happens. But it's just like you walk around and you find out, you'll see 3 or 4 stores with the exact same stuff, and you find out who has the better deal.
Yeah.
And you go, well, I've seen this guy down here, and you kind of start haggling with people, and
Like a market.
yeah, you
yeah.
move around.
Flea
It,
market,
it
yeah.
happens. Or you
Yeah.
wait and you'll see by the end of the day on Sunday, one store has got the exact same thing as the other store, or they ran out and they've dropped the price down. And yeah, it's like, do I really want that? But I guess you do if you're into that stuff, because there are a lot of people that are collectors that will chase for the better price on what collectibles they can get. And I guess it's one of those things, but people are spending money, so I guess while people are still spending the money, it will still happen.
Oh, yeah,
Even though we don't like it, it is
Look,
frustrating because
it's not going to stop.
I mean, it
It's
gets
not
me
gonna stop.
confused, even though I know I spend the whole day walking around, but then I'll see, at the end of the day, I'm getting tired, and even though I know, along the right-hand side is, the exits, but you'll see one stall there, see another store at the other end, and it confuses you.
Yeah.
You're like, which one am I at? And you're like, am I this way, am I that way? I'm like, I'm tired, I just want to get out of here, I'm confused.
That's
Yeah.
taking it to the
Yeah.
extreme, but
Yeah.
But, and that's what it feels like sometimes, it's just everything's exactly the same, it's just
No, it's going back to would like to see a little bit more variety.
Like
Kind of
later.
sick
Yeah.
of seeing the same
Yeah,
moves.
we've kind of
Yeah.
spoken
The same
about it.
things, and especially if it's kind of in the sense that, all right, you go to one convention, another convention, they've kind of got the same. But
Yeah.
you want to see,
The exact
you
same
want to
stuff.
know that if you go to this convention, this is the only place you can get it. This is because that booth only does.
Because I know that
It's
between,
kind of
Oz, Con, and
exclusivity,
Supernova,
yeah.
they look exactly the same to me. It feels like I've gone to this one, it looks the exact same as that.
That's only because we've been to many cons
Why?
where
Many
they
cons,
all
they all look
mold
the same.
together.
Does Guy still run Comic Con?
PAX.
PAX.
PAX,
He runs PAX.
Does he do Comic Con as well?
They do both, yes.
You do both.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
no offense to you, Guy and Lionel. But I know we're comparing them to PAX a lot, but I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
about PAX, and I wish the other conventions would do, is more interactive panels and things like that. You go to PAX and Bethesda will do trivia night, which I love, and we go to it every year.
Some keen.
Every year I've been.
Something different. That's why I'm
3
kind of
years.
keen. I think
I
it's
love
different.
going to
It
things like
sounds
that.
different. It
Yeah.
seems different.
And
That
they
would-
had one year where they had streamers on a panel, and what's
pretty
the
cool.
life of a streamer
That's
like, and
streamer,
how do
yeah.
you be a successful streamer? And then we went to a really good panel that had someone from Razer, someone
Can we have a
someone from
Maybe one day.
We'll just have 2 packs.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, one day
We'll
we
just have
could
2
get
panels.
there.
Yeah.
One day
No,
we could
2
get
packs
there.
is each
2 packs
for the year.
And yeah, they had people from the industry. So they had Rez from Razer, and they had AK Racing there, and they had a few other people from different brands,
Yeah.
and how to approach someone for a sponsorship or like an affiliation program. They did like the do's and don'ts of how to approach it. Like, and I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I wish they'd do that more. So, yeah. That's why
I think you're thinking from the perspective of, because that's what you're interested in, that's why they're the panels that you want to see. So the thing at other conventions that I see is like they kind of do that in the sense of like anime, animation,
Yeah.
you know,
But more of those.
films.
Like, I know
and
your
more of-
friend, when
yeah,
we watched
yeah.
his panel at
Oh yeah, from
Supernova. That was awesome.
Millennium XL, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Ty.
Shout out.
to Ty.
Shout out to Ty.
Shout out to Ty.
And was that?
Oh,
I don't
do you
know.
want to
But
explain
shout
that
out.
quickly? Because
Sorry.
we're shouting him out, but
Shout
everyone's
out,
like,
mate of mine,
give him a
Aussie.
quick plug.
Give him a good quick plug. Check out his project Millennium Exile. He's an Aussie that
Patreon?
Patreon.
Is it on Patreon?
Yeah, it's on Patreon.
Yep.
I think it's on Patreon. And he's an Aussie that wants to do a anime. It's very interesting. I expect you to hopefully that you check into it and check out what it's
You guys
about.
school with him, eh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Went to school with him.
I used to be his boss.
Designing his own anime, guys.
Yeah.
So,
He is an exceptionally talented artist as well. So
yep.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely worth looking into.
Yeah, anyway, back to your point, Simon.
Back to it is that it's good to have that at the other conventions as well.
Yeah.
We are already seeing them for anime, animation, film, movies, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if have a little bit adding to the extra variety of it is to bring in some of those PAX crowds to the other conventions. That'd be great to have a little bit more variety of those panels. But saying that, you've only got 2 days / 3 days
Cut
for
my
most
cosplay
conventions.
comps. I'm over there.
There we go.
Get off.
There's Stasis. What we're sick of
But, I
seeing.
mean,
Wait,
that's true. Oh,
Waiting
what else
for it
could
to
we-
come out.
Cosplay. Well, that's exactly
We're
that.
holding it.
I guess it's just a slot to fill in space. It's just
Yeah,
let's
but,
put some extra.
But that's
entertainment
saying
on.
that is also to incorporate more things. They got to get more areas to have these panels and so on and so forth. So, it's going back to the would like to see this, but realistically, from a business standpoint, as Kurt was saying, can they
Yeah,
yet? Because
it's
if there's it's money, and it's also if there's one convention already doing it and they've got it down to a T, if they're trying to replicate it and have it their own, then it comes down to the whole. Then all conventions going to be exactly the same, and then and then you're going to have too many conventions all the
Well, that is
same,
true.
and then you're going to be like, which one am I going to go to only for the
the
rest
year.
for the year?
Yeah.
So you
That's
need
kind of what
that,
it works like. That it's the
Yeah,
business
yeah,
scheme.
and-
You can
and
come
it-
to us instead of them.
exactly, and it would kind of ruin PAX if they started bringing celebrities from movies and TV shows in that sense and try and get in onto
They've never really had that, have
yeah,
they?
yeah, I know, but. It's if
But if they did, yeah.
If they did, then
If they did too much of the PAX stuff too at Supernova, then
yeah,
what's special about PAX
what's so
then?
special about PAX? So
Yeah.
you kind of you got to kind of understand that if you do something well, you don't want to deviate from that, and like PAX does what they do well, and Supernova and Oz Comic Con do what they do well. They just need to probably do the thing, but probably mix up a little things like booths and stalls and just
Yeah.
do it.
I don't know, condense down the markets and
Yeah,
bring back the
yeah.
3D
They need
photo.
sumo fat suits.
Yeah,
Now
have
for
a,
that.
Yeah. Some of the, I'd
I'd
like
say-
to see some of the classic things that they brought back for over the years, like that 3D photos, like the little jumping, the 360 photo. That was
just
terrific.
Just something novelty, I guess. Just
Yeah,
little novelty
yeah,
things.
and you see them, or just a little bit more of the like the side things to take photos of and
You
see.
want less markets.
Well, there was
Oh,
one year
yeah.
Red Bull
Well,
had
less
an
markets.
event.
You don't want to spend
Yeah.
The
that much money.
drones.
Yeah.
Remember the drones?
I never
Just to be
spent
tiny.
any-
That was
drones,
good.
yeah.
But no, that would make sense if they could just condense down the markets just a little bit, not make it, because I guess Supernova's most main feature that I always think of is all the stalls.
Yeah, but that's
It's
their
all
money
buying.
maker as well. That's how they
But like
pay for
celebrities
the
is like their side thing where I always think market is their higher priority. You're paying to go to a market,
Yeah.
and you're not even getting choices of nice show back. Like it's not even a mini echo.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
we're in the. like the bad position that because we're Australia, the celebrities just want to come in, do their thing, and then get out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And because of the
I've had those.
logistics
At the end of the day, if
wise,
they don't want to do an extra panel, they're not going to do an extra panel.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like I said, going back to the con in America, the Stanley Comic Con I went to, it was for them, for those celebrities, all it is just a drive down the road or like a quick flight that we
Or
would take
nearby,
from Sydney to Melbourne or something like that. While compared to, you know,
Coming here, it's like a
coming
16,
here,
20
it's 16-hour flight,
yeah.
20-hour flight. Plus, then you got to put them in a hotel room, and then pay for the job itself.
That's why you got people like, from I heard, John Barrowman, who decided to buy real estate over here. So when he wants to come to a convention, he just flies here, stays at his like holiday home for like the month or whatever it is, and just go to the conventions and then stay for a bit and then fly back.
Yeah.
Like it's investing. It's
It's
Yeah.
nice to have money.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The privilege.
Yeah.
Get on my
life.
G6.
Yeah.
just I'm gonna fly there. Let's just buy a house just to have there when we fly over there. We're like,
Yeah.
that's just luxury.
Yeah. And that's why you see some of the same celebrities at the conventions
they're
all
easy
the
to come
time.
by,
Because
they
they
love-
need to come by, because it's like, it's their holiday home.
Yeah.
Which explains why they do come to the conventions. all
On the
time.
plus side, glad you like the country.
Yeah. um, but yeah, saying that, it's great to see all those other celebs, but in comparison to the logistics for it,
Makes
that's
sense.
why we're getting charged
It's
so much.
because we are so far
Yeah,
away.
it is. We are so far away, and it makes sense that we're paying that amount for it, like $250 for John Travolta, and it
Yeah,
was.
but he
prim-
flies his own jet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but on that aspect, it's kind of he knows it as well. The
Yeah.
He's
logistics.
making some extra cash.
Yeah,
But he's like,
extra
while I'm
cash
here,
as
might as well
well.
promote stuff like
Yeah.
for his tour.
Yeah.
Which is only in Melbourne, which is funny because he's promoting at Adelaide and Brisbane, but the show's in Sydney and Melbourne,
Yeah.
which is it's a bit weird.
But like Mo said, he just flies his own plane over and just be like, oh yeah, it's just
so
like
he's
a
going to be
2-hour
here for
flight.
like a month anyway. So
Yeah.
it's just weird.
You could just hop on the plane and fly over to New Zealand or something if you wanted to.
Most probably will. Wouldn't surprise him.
But yeah, saying that, it's the logistics, and that's why we get charged so much.
Yeah.
And it would, and compared to the States where it's like, oh wait, $20, really? You sure you're not adding an extra zero to that? It's,
So what about you, Kurt? Is there anything that you're kind of overseeing at conventions?
Well,
Not that I've seen you at many recently.
nah. Look, I haven't. I don't know what they've been
Us
like.
lackeys do the convention stuff. The boss is just chill.
I haven't been to any in I guess recent couple of years, and Lance will probably laugh at this, but the one thing I kind of was overseeing, and I still see it in the photos that come back from these conventions, is half naked women, booth
Yeah.
babes.
Jeez, Lance, come on.
Well, he attended a number of conventions with me, and he
you sure you're not confusing the boot babes with just the regular cosplayers?
yeah.
yeah. Well,
It
see,
kind of gets
I don't
blurred
see any
there.
boot
Just an anime character.
Yeah.
Just
And
a
I'm not,
regular anime character.
oh look, it's partially probably the parent in me coming out, but it's also like maybe I'm just want to see more of the actual sort of cosplay or the actual
Yeah.
what's going on there. Like like Stace said, cosplayers, it's just they go in there and how can you call some of them cosplayers? They're just going in who's having a competition who can wear the least, and
Yeah.
and look, there's a time and place for all that, of course, but.
Go to the other convention I mentioned.
Yeah. But these things, like, I'd rather see a really awesome cosplay of
Full armor.
Like some of the cool
Yeah.
stuff you see, like the
Yeah.
crazy Predator costumes, or like the
Yes,
really
or-
detailed,
Oh,
like
yeah,
Queen
yeah,
Aliens
yeah.
and like
stop with Tomb Raider, for God's sake.
Oh.
Harley Quinn, like,
Harley Quinn, Deadpool's.
Come on, there's at least got to be at least
Like-
5 to 10 Harley Quinns at each convention.
Well, it's always
I
for
think it's
males
a
it's always
rule now,
Deadpool's.
yeah.
For females, it's always Harley
Convention,
Quinn.
it's also Harley.
yeah.
Like it's always something.
And I mean, I know booth bays are booted out of PAX.
Yeah.
PAX
We don't really
again,
see it much
then.
anymore.
C3
Supernova is
as
a
well, years
very
ago.
family-friendly event
They-
now, and they
except for
often have
cosplayers.
kicked people out that are wearing outfits like cami and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
because
yeah.
They're still
Yeah. So
And
they're
political preference
starting
for
to
that.
put stuff in place.
And I mean, yeah, and look,
I've been down that road where I've played many complaints with people, and I've lost a lot of cosplay friends. Which I mean, they weren't really friends, but hey, I've started arguments with people because of that reason. So
Yeah.
I cause personal drama.
Just keep it to your Patreon account, please.
Yeah, please.
yeah,
Yeah,
And look, it's weird to even hear myself saying it, to be quite honest.
But that's what it is. It's a
if you'd known
family-friendly
me
event.
15 years ago, you'd be going, dude, there's something wrong with you. You're not the same person.
But that's what it comes
Meanwhile, my
into.
son's watching there, but he'll listen to the podcast anyway. So he'll hear what I'm saying, but yeah, that on top of everything you guys have already said, but that's probably
People need to be mindful of
look,
who's
yeah,
around.
it's
and
the
that's
biggest
it.
thing.
I mean, there's
And that's exactly what it is, though. Like, it legit is a PG, like,
well, it should be.
like,
PG.
it's a family event. Like, that's what it's supposed to be. It's during
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
It's during the, weekend when families are timed off. Like, that's what it's kind of focusing at.
Yeah.
And then, you got cosplayers that are technically ruining it because they're trying to be skimpy and trying to get the attention. And
Yeah.
it
And-
is.
yeah.
It really is.
And yet they're the
saturating
first ones
it.
to complain when they get the wrong attention. Like,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they get some guy they don't like taking their photo and they're the first ones to complain.
Yeah.
So...
Having said that, if you are a photographer, ask permission first.
always ask permission first.
Yeah, I've had that a few occasions of someone taking a photo of me across the hall. And then finding it later on the internet, and it's just like, I'm just standing
Dylan
casually
in
fine.
skimpy outfits.
Yeah, totally.
It
On my
looks good in
Patreon.
it looks good in a crop top.
Just the beard.
Keep it to the bedroom, please.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first lessons Lance and I learnt when we went to
Yes.
the conventions was to ask permission
Yeah.
first.
Yeah,
Even though they're there, cosplayers, they're there and the majority of them, they want to get
Photo.
their photos taken. They want to get their photos out there.
Yeah, but it comes down to human decency. That's
Wow.
the thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
Some
Some
it.
people are just inappropriate, yeah.
Yeah.
Cosplay is
saying
not
that-
consent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In saying that, from a different angle, conventions are very good for networking
Oh, yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually have another thing I want to see, more like stuff dedicated to streamers, because they're like the new, like when we were
New-
talking about
new-
streaming a
yeah.
couple
Yep.
episodes ago,
Yeah.
streamers are like almost like the new reality
Yeah.
TV stars.
I guarantee you there's probably going to be twice as many streamer
So-
booths this year. at
Well,
PAX.
last year Mixer didn't have a booth, but after Ninja and his
Yeah.
signing,
That
I'm
guarantee-
hoping Mixer will have a
Well,
massive
they
presence
had
this year.
not last year, but the year before. They had their own area.
Yeah, they had a small booth that
So
was
it has-
quite empty
Yeah.
because Mixer had only just turned into
Just
Mixer.
turned,
And then last year they had no booth. But
They had a
guessing
banner.
this year's going to be a massive booth.
I saw a Mixer banner. That was closest
Yeah.
thing,
So
which I was a little bit disappointed about.
more streaming stuff aimed at
They
streamers.
are the next big
Superstar.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, not that it's streaming, but it's still YouTubers.
Yeah.
My son, 6 years old, we went to the Echo.
Yeah.
Saw a Ryan's toy review show bag. Ryan's toy.
Oh my god, my
Yeah, yeah.
nephew
Yeah.
is obsessed with this kid.
He's just a young kid himself, and he's been reviewing toys on YouTube
Yeah.
with his mum and dad. And
He's got millions
He's-
of
they-
followers.
off the chops.
he's massive now.
Yeah.
And, and
Biggest
He has his own toy
YouTuber.
line and everything. And
that's the thing. Like streamers, they're like
They're the new celebrities in this generation.
they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
They
But I mean,
are.
you've got VidCon that kind of like
Yeah.
tries to pull a lot of that, and we have that here in Australia. Like VidCon, yeah, we got VidCon one of the
And then
cons.
there's TwitchCon in America.
And it pulls some of the YouTubers through, but
Yeah.
that's the exact same thing again. It's like, where do you start balancing with who's going to pull what? Like, you've
Yeah.
got them having YouTubers appear, then if we try, then, like, if Supernova has that, then I guess they're stepping on the toes, but, like, you got to start
Yeah.
evolving with your audience a little bit, not just keep staying the same way. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like,
You
you
gotta
have a bit
evolve
more
with time.
esports. Like, Supernova or Ozcon's going to have to start getting a little bit more esports.
Well,
happening.
my prediction is that PAX this year will be a very
Esports
streamer orientated.
Which is going to be
Yeah.
Like, it already is quite.
Well, yeah, we have tournaments.
presence,
There's
but I reckon
tournaments
it's
at,
gonna be huge
at PAX.
presence.
I forgot which one is this year. Which tournament's on at PAX this year?
Yeah, because last year was Injustice 2
Yeah.
tournament.
Well, speaking of PAX, because I feel like changing the fourth topic, because I feel like the fourth topic that I originally had picked might
Sorry.
step on a few toes, and we don't want to break any ties that we currently have.
I don't know
Yeah.
what this fourth
What are we
topic
talking
was.
about?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not
I
going to
can't
talk about
remember
that
now.
one. We'll look at it later. Because I'm a little bit excited about PAX, I actually want everyone's opinions on it. Because I've obviously never been, so I
So,
want to know what
Kurt's
we're
been
excited
PAX,
to see.
Simon's been PAX, I've been PAX, you two haven't.
No,
Correct.
we haven't.
Yeah.
We're in the
Correct.
That's not-
Where,
no
Yeah.
nut corner.
Well, Kirk can go first because he went
PAX
to a
virginity.
really...
yeah, PAX
OG
virginity.
PAX, like
Yes.
an
older
So,
one.
if you see us there, please be gentle.
Yeah.
PAX is...
I loved it. After comparing to EB and PAX at the time.
Can you shut up? Yeah,
There's some
anyway.
people in the background. I actually
Comic
loved PAX. I don't know. It was really spread out, which is what I liked. It wasn't because I hate people.
Oh, so do I.
I hate crowds. I
High
hate people. And yeah, look, it was, and for the most part, everyone down there was great. Everyone we spoke to was great. And that was one where the nightlife, they had like this, it was almost like an after party, but it wasn't. It was during
the nightlife.
Yeah, look, that was just good fun.
Yeah.
PAX was something different. It was a bit of everything and anything, but
Fresh.
yeah, it was at the time. So what it's like now, I couldn't tell you. I haven't been last 3 years.
Because I've been in the last 3.
That's been
Yeah,
going for a
must be,
while
yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's gone for a while.
Well, what
Yeah,
about
see,
you?
PAX generally closes at like 8, 9 o'clock at night, whereas
Yeah.
Supernova Comic Con's like
6.
5, 6, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
dusted.
yeah. And
Over
doesn't
a
really have a
big weekend.
nightlife.
It's just people lingering around in cosplay trying to take night photos.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, well,
not
Simon
even-
went to a Warframe after party one
That was-
night. We
that
went
was
to a
awesome.
Twitch after party. This was before I was in Mixer. A Mixer peep.
Mixer fan.
Yeah. What else? There were quite a few after events.
Yeah.
After events.
You pretty
I'm
much have
curious
to
about.
hunt them down well, actually, no, you don't really, because they're on the schedule for PAX. Because those night events, as you said, go on until 8 o'clock. But there's a lot of kind of after stuff arranged by people at PAX. I wouldn't say by PAX, but like as I said, they said there was that Warframe party which Warframe attended, and they had their own little VIP party that you only knew about if you played Warframe and were on the forums. And it was a free entry. They had open bar, free finger food, and lots of merch for everyone who attended. And you got to hang out with the devs, and it was awesome. Generally, like, for where it is in Melbourne, there's a lot of nightlife for the gaming scene as well. You've got Easy GG, which is awesome esports bar. And then you've got like Bar Tronica as well. So there's a lot of places that are open perfectly.
Bowling alley, they close down sometimes and put events in.
Yeah, and it's perfect for nightlife. Especially for the event. So I think that's just good for it, where, you know...
See, I love Supernova. Supernova is like one of my top conventions, but because it's so transient, it doesn't have time to pull stuff like that.
Yeah. I don't think because venues kind of change for us in Brisbane for the nightlife. You know, one bar closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
You go in 6 months later, and it's like, wasn't there, this place here? And it keeps changing, so you don't really have a set themed bar which perfectly suits after convention events, which is probably the reason why we don't really have after convention events in that sense. It kind of makes sense. So, like back in the day, there was the Matter Bar in Brisbane, which awesome bar, very much a regular there. And that's sadly closed down.
Well, I mean, it'd be kind of cool, like they do, where they had their separate like night parties. Where it was like that Neko Nation, where it was like, I guess if they had like a Supernova roll into something,
Nation,
kind of like the thing, like it's
sadly that's
could do a
finished up now.
exactly
as well.
like that's died off. Like it'd be cool if they had like Supernova had like, I guess maybe an after party event like that to a point maybe, but I guess it's they maybe don't want to like promote kind of that stuff because they're going to be
it's
family
family
friendly,
friendly,
so they don't
yeah.
want to associate adult life with family friendly events. Maybe that could be the issue, I guess.
Yeah, if you want to say you want to separate the two, but at the same time you're still under that banner, so you can't.
Yeah.
So I can see where it gets a bit hard for there. But yeah, going back to PAX, it's great nightlife afterwards. There's a lot of events for it, and they're not events that, as I said, there's events done by PAX, but there's a lot of stuff that is done by
People that go to PAX.
Yeah, go to PAX
To help
and
promote their business.
promote their business. And
Networking.
yeah, networking. And PAX is terrific for networking. And just for a good time, and especially just for people.
I'm down for a good time.
All for everyone.
You down for a good time?
All right, well, that escalated.
We're down for a good time.
And I was about to say it was your turn next, but we might just skip that.
Well, those two haven't been.
Yeah,
We're down for a good time.
I haven't been, but certainly excited to just experience it. Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
How do I say it? In our line of work, it's really good because we would line up and play games, and because of like lining up at PAX and playing like a demo of a game, there's so many games I've discovered that I've wanted to play, and then I've played them and they've been amazing.
Yeah,
Like
and
I
then
played
and that's where the
Detroit Become
exclusivity
Human
for it
at PAX,
as well.
and then I'm like, oh my god, I have to get this game when it comes out. So I love that aspect of it.
Well, yeah, the exclusivity for the event as well, because all the games there, that they're not going to be out for months, or at least a few weeks in some cases.
Yeah.
Some cases they're already out, actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but most of them, they're like, it's great you get your hands onto it, and that exclusivity.
But I guess
for
that's
it.
what they want. They just to promote it, like getting people onto it.
And there's a lot, like I've found it's like you've got the same booths, you could say, like all the but because there's a rotation of games, those booths don't seem like they're the same every year. And not just that, there's even the areas that aren't like the computer companies, like, they're giving away stuff like you got Harvey Norman there and Razer and all that kind of stuff. Like the same thing, because their product changes, their booth still changes as well, so it doesn't get stale. And not just that, there's huge amounts of giveaways for it. So if it's the good old meme that's on the forum, it's like when packing for PAX, you one side is like your clothes, your necessities,
You leave half your luggage
half
empty.
the luggage for merch. And that's what it was like.
And
Bethesda.
they are very generous.
Oh,
at
yeah,
PAX.
very
They'll give away
generous.
mouses and keyboards.
Yeah, Bethesda last
Mouses
year.
or mice?
Mice.
Mises.
Yeah.
Mice?
Me.
It's an argument I always have.
Mice.
Keyboards.
Keyboards.
But yeah, so much was given away in the years that we've went. I remember someone was given a Mac desktop to give away. That was one of the giveaways. Graphics
giving that away too.
cards. There's keyboards, graphics cards, all computer parts.
They are very generous.
They are very generous. Even if you go for like the regular merch, you can get like different types of lanyards, pins as well if you know where to
Have a
look.
quick market before we leave.
Yeah. Statues. Bethesda had a huge amount of giveaways last year as well.
Yeah, Bethesda were very generous.
Very
last year.
generous. It's just so much you can do there. So much.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, on that note, I think we might wrap things up. Thank you for watching episode 7 of the
Or
MKAU
listening,
show.
depending on what you're doing.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Some people listening, watching, having a good old time.
Oz Comic Con Brisbane is September 21st. PAX is Melbourne, October 10th. To the
I think
14th.
October 10th.
We're
yeah.
going 10th to
Yeah.
the 14th, so come find
And
us.
hope everyone enjoyed Dragon Con over the weekend.
It was last
weekend.
It was last weekend.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, mate.
I guess it also depends on when you're watching or
The
listening to
last
this as well.
weekend, last, because who knows when this is going to be up. This weekend's most going to be finished by the
You
time
just
you're
say you enjoy Dragon Con next weekend, next year when it's on.
Because the last one,
Yeah, last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Time travel.
Anyway, on that note,
We're time travelers.
yeah.
Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And if you want to grab some sweet MKAU merch, don't forget to follow the links that'll be down below on YouTube. Otherwise, look us up on designbyhumans.com. Thanks, guys.